And welcome back to Street Smarts TV. I'm Rob, and I'm here with my guy Chris. Today we're talking group chats. Personally, I'm not a huge fan. Of course, there's some exceptions. Some groups are cool peeps, good vibes. I understand their usefulness. Broadcasting birthday invitations and news conveniently to friends and family. So on the surface, group chats they can seem pretty harmless, but in reality, they're uncontrolled environments, juicy data rich spaces, and they're high risk for data leaks. Lots to discuss and talk about. Let's get right into it. Chris, what is it about group chats that we need to be aware of? Let's start with why they're a problem.
Well, you got to think about what's inside those group chats. You've got your phone number, you have your home address, photos. Sometimes you can put, plans that you got going on, like a vacation or something. I mean, really, it's a gold mine of personal information that's just sitting on the app that most people don't even think twice about. But I think the scarier part or the bigger issue is that we just have this mentality that all that information stays in the chat, but it doesn't. It's not a vault. Um, that information is actually very accessible in a lot of ways. We can kind of talk about that and the hidden risks that go with that.
Hidden risks. Can you speak more about that?
Yeah, I mean, you have less control than you think about the information that's inside that group chat. Anybody can add a new member without your approval. New people can walk in and they can see the whole entire chat history depending on that platform. Anybody can take screenshots of anything, anytime. You get no notification of that, and then you have no idea what's being done with that screenshot. If you want to delete a message because you think it has sensitive information in it, it's not really deleting it, it just removes it from your phone. It still will exist on everybody else's phones. If they have backups, it'll exist in those people's backups. Sometimes on different platforms, it still exists inside those servers as well too. So if there's a data leak, that information can get out. And then the other thing is you're only as secure as the person with the worst security habits. So if somebody never locks their phone or has a really weak password and that gets compromised, well, all that information that's in that group chat, that's now exposed. So that puts you at risk as well too.
So it seems that not knowing how the technology works is one of the reasons why group chats are inherently problematic. So let's talk a little bit how they work. Can you break down the basics when it comes to how messaging works?
Sure. There's a thing called end-to-end encryption that a lot of them do have. What that does is that protects the message during the whole transit process. So from the time it leaves your phone, it encrypts it, stays encrypted all the way through to the device that you want it to be received to, and then that device will unencrypt it for you. So that way, if anybody ever intercepts that message, they can't read it. A lot of the services also offer like cloud backup as well too. This is kind of where a lot of people can get caught up in terms of having stuff vulnerable. iCloud and Google Drive, their backups, they're not end to end encrypted by default. So you've actually got to lock the message to get it sent over to there. And then once it's sitting on those areas, if it's still not locked and say your Google Drive gets hacked, that information is also still very available as well too. Um, then there's the metadata aspect of it. So the metadata, this is kinda interesting because even if they can't read the message, your platform will know who you talk to, when you talk to them, how often you talk to them, your group chat name if you named it, uh, just by the metadata alone. So that can really reveal a lot of information for you on that. And then there's a data retention. Your messages could be sitting on some company server, I don't know, for a few days or indefinitely. We really don't know unless you look into their private policies of that company itself.
Now, it seems that this information that you just given me is very general across the board. So, and that every messaging app is built differently. So, with that being said, let's compare some of the different apps that are out there. I'm going to fire off some apps and then you give me the pros and cons. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, iMessage.
iMessage I like. It's got the end-to-end encryption during the transit, but the iCloud backups aren't fully protected by default, so you got to make sure that you set those settings up right.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp is also another one that uses the end-to-end encryption, but again, the backups are unencrypted by default, but they also collect metadata and can add anybody to your group, so there's some risks with that as well too.
How's about the standard SMS, short message service?
Um, People might think this one is secure, but it's not. There's zero encryption with that. The information is actually stored by your carriers. The messages can be easily intercepted. I mean, in a lot of ways, you can just kind of think of it as like an electronical postcard. If someone ever picks that message up, they can see the whole entire thing in transit.
How's about Telegram?
There's a little bit of a misconception here with the Telegram. The standard chats and the group chats do not have an end-to-end encryption. It's only the secret chats that are encrypted, but those aren't available for a group chat. So for group chats, Telegram is definitely not the one. But if for an individual conversation, if you use the secret chats, it does offer some good security.
And last but not least, Signal.
Signal. This is the gold standard. This is full end-to-end encryption, including the groups. There's very little metadata that's collected there. It's an open source product. Messages disappear. I mean, it's if you're looking for privacy, that's probably one of the best ones out there.
I know a lot of people that have friends and relatives abroad. They use WhatsApp, but in the United States, those same friends they'll use, for example, their iMessage to communicate with their fellow Americans. So far we've spoken about why group chats are a problem. We spoke about how messaging works, and we just did a rundown of the pros and cons of a few messaging applications. Can you speak more about the risk when it comes to group chats being this juicy donut of personalized information?
Yeah, I mean, there's some real risks with this and that. Like to go back to this, it's a plethora of data, so you can you can harvest all that contact data that's inside there. So everybody in the group, you can see everybody's phone numbers and anything else that they have on that profile card. It could be email addresses, sometimes addresses, birthdays, all that information is inside there. So that data can be scraped and used for scams or even sold off. If you're type of person who's talking to a group chat and telling people you want to get ready to go do some plans, maybe go to vacation or something like that. Again, that's a bunch of private information that's going out there. Somebody captures that and they really want to be nefarious and they find out that you're going on vacation. You'll put your physical property probably at risk in a slight way. Screenshots. That's like we talked about a little earlier. Any message at any time, those can be screenshotted. That information can be shared uh, super private information. Even if you and everybody else deleted that message, if it got screenshot, that's still sitting out there. So those are a big risk. Alt chats, so stuff that maybe you got into on a group chat and group chat died, haven't talked in that group chat in forever, but that information is still out there. It's still on your device. It could be on somebody else's device. Doesn't matter if it's a couple weeks old or 5 years old. It's still accessible and full of that personal information that you kind of forgot about was sitting out there. This one's a little unique, but work chats. Work chats can get you in trouble in a different way, as if you get too comfortable with some coworkers, maybe say something that could slightly offend somebody, maybe be inappropriate for work conversations. Well, now there is actual text informations out there of that can be taken to an HR department and cause a problem for you. So you really got to be careful with that part.
It's scary. It seems that I need to do some spring cleaning in my inbox. Get rid of all those old group text messages. Someone must have acquired my info somehow because I received these wrong numbered text messages and
They call that pig butchery. Here's how that works. You get, like you said, just a random text message, and usually they're really friendly. Could just be like, "Hey, how you doing?" or "Hey, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it out this week." And your natural reaction is going to be like, "Well, who's this person?" And send a message back, "Hey, wrong number." Well, then they try to find out a way to break down that wall and engage with you. Oh, hey, sorry, wrong number, my fault. Da da da. Wanted to get with a friend. Anyways, how's your day going? Well, if you engage with that, you're now probably engaging with a scammer, and then that scammer is going to do everything they can to gain your trust, and then they're going to hit you with something like, I don't know, I've been making a killing on this crypto, man. So check out this website. And then they send that off to you, and that website could be a virus. It could be a scam in terms of just taking your money. It could be a lot of different ways, but that's really what they're looking to do. They're looking to fatten you up with buttering you up, and then they're going in there for the kill. hence pig butchery.
No matter how many times I delete, block, and report those, I keep getting them. I guess I'm a big fat fucking pig because they keep bothering me every single day, every single day. But yeah, just like picking your partners, what are some warnings, red flags that street smart users should look out for?
Let's see. There's 5 or 6. First one, unknown members added to the group chat. Always be suspect of them. I'm always usually suspect of people who just kind of silently lurk. As the second one, why are you in here if you ain't participating? That's my question. Third one would be casual work chat discussions. Make sure you keep them professionally. Don't wander off to dangerous subjects that could be personal or potentially cause an ASART issue. Um, Always be suspect of a friendly wrong number message. Those are always a red flag. Suspicious links is another one. If you get a link, never click on it. And then this is a little bit different than the group chats, but if the group chat asks the app itself asks for permissions that seem excessive to you, I would be suspect of that as well.
How can someone be a hard target? And what can we do to take action and protect our information when we're utilizing group chats?
Oh, there's a few actions that you could do. The first immediate step would be is like WhatsApp or any of the other ones. Check the settings and enable the end-to-end encryption on the backups. That way, if the information gets stored to your backups, it's not out there just sitting there unencrypted. Um, Adjust to make sure you know who is inside those group chats. I know I've said this before. You don't want people who don't you don't know in those, but it's a serious thing. If you don't know them, you don't know what they're doing with your information. And then the other ones would be behavioral changes. Be mindful of what you share. Be mindful of who is inside of the chat. Avoid posting sensitive information like your address or email addresses, phone numbers, travel plans, anything along the lines of that. And I would just in general, treat the chats as like a public forum. We've all had that person riding on the train where they're having a very private conversation, very loud, and you're like, how in the world are you having that right here, right now? Well, group chats are the exact same way. Anything you put on there, everybody can see. So just be cautious of that. And like I said, treat it like it's a public space.
And that brings us to our digital street smart rule of the week. Treat every group chat like your boss, your ex, and a hacker are all in it. This week's homework is to check your backup encryption settings, your group privacy controls, and reflect on how many group chats you're in. Stay tuned for our next episode. Your phone is listening, but not how you think it is. Like, subscribe, and share if you found this information useful. And until next time, stay safe.